Hello, how are you doing? My name is Ben Bac Sierra, and this is Barrio Bushido TV, and we are covering the book Barrio Bushido. This is a lecture series. We are continuing with chapter 2, El Lobo. This segment for the video series is part 3 of 3. We will finish up El Lobo today. Okay? My name is Ben Bac Sierra. If you'd like to find out more about me and my writing, please visit tolobuenodown.wordpress.com. Now, El Lobo. In the last section, we saw that Lobo is in a dilemma. That he has agreed to murder his benefactor, a man named Kwai Chung. He has agreed to murder him in broad daylight so that Sasquatch, a Chinese American, can get into Kwai Chung's spot in the Chinese organized crime leadership. Lobo does not want to do this, but he agrees to do this to save the love of his life, Sheila. Sasquatch has kidnapped her and is holding her for ransom. Once he leaves Sasquatch's house that evening, he is faced with this dilemma, whether he should kill Kwai Chung that coming Sunday, or whether he should betray Sheila and not go on with the job. He struggles because he knows that if he doesn't kill Kwai, Sheila will be killed. He starts to blame her. And on page 41, we see some of what goes on in his mind. He's thinking. This is page 41 towards the bottom. It's Thursday. No, it's motherfucking Friday morning. Friday the fucking 13th. 12:30, 2 days, 2 nights to prepare. I need a fat hit, some thick legs, need to relax, clear my head and think. If I go back there, he'll take her out. If I don't show up to kill Kwai on Sunday, she's gone. And he starts to blame her. It's her fault, he says, because she got involved with a person like him. And he thinks she should have known better than that. But then he struggles because he genuinely loves her. He goes to the beach and counts the waves and meditates. He ends up spending the entire night at the beach thinking and trying to decide what he should do in this situation. He is not necessarily an honorable person. And so he's still thinking about whether he should go through with it or not. And on page 43, he's hungry, he's tired. He walks back from the beach to the varrio, which is some miles away. He gets to the varrio, and since he has no money and he's hungry, he stands in what he sees is a free cheese line. Now, in the 1980s, 1990s, this was a common occurrence in many urban areas. And still to this day, they are popular, although lines do not form the same way that they did back then in the communities. It's a little more organized of a practice. But the government would give away cheese, beans, bread, canned vegetables, and other similar items. Lobo sees that there is a line that is forming, and he stands in the line. While he's in the line, he has what I like to refer to as a Happy Meals epiphany. He's in the line, and a mother who has had to chase her child, find out where her child is. She has chased her young boy, and because she's gotten out of line, she has lost her place in line. This is what happens on page 43. This young mom in back of me was hitting her kid for getting out of line and making her lose their spot at the front. How are we going to eat if you don't stay in your place? She shouted in Spanish. How are we supposed to live with you always playing around? She smacked his ass hard. Mama, the little boy answered, I don't want any more cheese. He looked at her with honest, innocent eyes. Mama, I want cupcakes and Happy Meals. He did not cry. They will be taught through the mouths of babes. Fuck this shit. I made up my mind. I'm gonna rob all them fools. They're gonna break themselves for me. Fuck it. I want Happy Meals too. I'm a gangster. If I'm going out, then it's gonna be all out war. Lobo, at this point, through this Happy Meals epiphany, has decided that he will betray Sheila. What is it that he saw in that little boy? He reflected on himself and about getting out of line, losing their place, and being punished for losing your place, for wanting something else, for wanting Happy Meals. And he decides he will not stand in that cheese line. Instead, he is going to go for his own type of Happy Meals. What type of Happy Meals? We look on page 44. He tells us a bit about what he wants. Sunday, that's all that matters. Sunday and my world is new. What do I want? Happy Meals, gold chains, convertible Impala, a finer bitch than Sheila, 2 bitches, a harem, fine clothes, silk shirts, and leather cowboy boots, a palace with a statue. He is going to sell out the love of his life for his own materialistic desires. And he makes this powerful, bold decision, and he knows what this means. He knows that this means that Sheila will die. He also realizes that he cannot do this alone. He's going to need his best friends, Santo and Toro, to help him out. And so he is thinking about what he needs to do. And as he is thinking about this, he says this. He is thinking this. Page 45. 3 in the afternoon, and Santo and Toro walking straight towards me. And they can't see that I got them in my sight, right in the crosshairs. That I see them coming, that I see it all. They're so blind, they don't know they're about to get got. Lobo sees Toro and Santo approaching, and he acts as if nothing's wrong. And he invites Santo and Toro to join him to get some free cheese. But instead of waiting in line anymore, he tells them, let's cut up to the front, and each of us, let's get a block of cheese. They get a block of cheese each, and Lobo tells them, let's now go to the corner liquor store and sell 2 of these blocks of cheese for some money so that we could buy some beers and some bread and have a feast down at the park with the other block of cheese. They sell the 2 blocks of cheese. It's described as to an older woman who's shopping, who looks at the cheese and sees the deal that Lobo is giving her. And they go to the park, and Lobo is, without telling them yet about any type of plan or anything that he has in mind, and in fact, you have to realize at this point, Lobo does not even have a plan. Lobo does not know what exactly he's going to do. He's decided, though, that instead of killing Kwai Chung, he is going to rob the organized crime triad leaders in broad daylight in Chinatown. He knows that the organized crime members pay tribute to the warlords in public on that day, which is going to be a Sunday, September 15th. 1991. So Lobo is trying to convince Toro and Santo of how delicious the cheese is. Page 46. Damn, this is some good ass cheese, ain't it? I stated it as if there were no insincerity in my words. As if there was nothing else in the world I would rather stuff in my mouth. Yeah. But why they gotta give us cheese for? Why can't they give us steaks or some shit? Toro asked. That question had me stumped. Rubbing my goatee, I hesitated during the time when something needed to be spoken, a time when silence was uncertainty. They know what mice like, Santo answered. They think we're fucking mice, Holmes. They want to kill us mice with poison cheese. He swallowed. That's when Santos started turning blue, like if he was choking or some shit. Nope, it wasn't a happy sight, but I had to prosper on the tragedy, make the most out of this great opportunity. The cheese has turned out to be a symbol. One way to interpret the cheese and the power of the cheese is that the government is attempting to pacify the people in the barrio, to make them feel as if they should have nothing to complain about, since they have at least some cheese. Toro questions this. Why can't they give us steaks or something? Lobo is confused. It is Santo who figures out the deviance in the scheme. And Santo begins to choke. When Lobo says that he's going to prosper on the tragedy, we must understand that while Santo is choking on this poison cheese, Lobo begins to whisper things into Santo's ears about all of the beautiful materialistic things that they can have. He also tells Santo that Santo is a great man, destined for royalty. Now, Lobo does not know whether Santo is accepting this argument or not. In fact, note this, that the way that the novel is organized, you have the 3 main protagonists, Lobo, Toro, and Santo, tell their own story from their own first-person perspective. So in Santo's chapter, when we get to that chapter, you will see what exactly is going through Santo's mind when Lobo is telling him about this, and when Santo himself is choking on the poison cheese. Lobo asks Santo, basically, are you with me? And on page 47, this is Santo's response. Santo pounded his heart hard, his face returning to normal. All I got is right here. He said calmly, confidently. And with these words, Lobo imagines that Santo will join him in whatever monstrosity Lobo is going to do that Sunday morning, that Sunday afternoon. And as I said, we do not even know what the plan is because he does not really have a plan. Lobo knows that if Santo goes, Toro, the bull, the one who's stereotyped as a non-thinker, as a follower, as a charger, he will follow Santo and all of them will be together. Lobo has a confidence, but he also has a plan because the day, Sunday, is still 2 days away. What is Lobo's plan now at this point? If you take a look here now at page 48, you'll see what Lobo decides to do. Lobo, once Santo supposedly agrees to join him, Lobo decides to steal some car stereos and then to sell them for cash. Why does he do this? Page 48 towards the bottom, I've got to get this party started and get my homeboys so shit-faced and wired out on PCP, they won't give a fuck what we do on Sunday. So to understand Lobo's plan, so far, it is he is going to buy some very powerful drugs, PCP, angeldust, which was a common drug that was used in the 70s through about the early 1990s for gang members. And he is going to get them so high that they will basically do whatever he wants him to do. Lobo has this plan. He's excited about this plan. He thinks something's going to work here. They go to another barrio called the Swamp to go find these drugs. While they're on their journey over there, they see that some ally homeboys of theirs, but people who are not from their neighborhood, but allies of theirs, they're having some problems with some rather large Samoan gang members. These Samoan gang members supposedly have stolen a jacket from an undocumented immigrant. The homies from this barrio, from this neighborhood, take offense at this, but no one does anything. No one does anything until Toro takes matters into his own hands. He begins a charge to battle these Samoans. He starts punching one of them. Lobo and Santo, of course, follow their friend Toro, but the homeboys from that neighborhood end up taking off and leaving. There is melee in the street. Bats are busted out of trunks. And Toro, at the end of this ordeal, is knocked unconscious with an open fracture to his leg. Lobo describes that his shin bone has popped out of his skin, out of Toro's skin. So Toro is completely incapacitated. The homies, Lobo and Santo, take Toro into a local taqueria, the same taqueria where Lobo had been eating at a day earlier, the cops come and they have a problem with Lobo. Toro is still knocked out. They call an ambulance for Toro. But Lobo knows one of the police officers from previous encounters, and in fact, the police officer had been a homie at one point, but now is a police officer coming back to the barrio, and Lobo begins to insult the police officer. The police officer and his partner take both Lobo and Santo to a place called Twig Peak, a place where no one will hear them shout or cry, and the police officers assault and beat Lobo, and they take Lobo's money as well to completely humiliate him. Lobo is left in tatters. He now thinks that his plan to do anything, and once again, as I have to say, he doesn't really even have a plan. And why doesn't he really have a plan? Note that he is not Lobo is not used to being a gangster. He is used to living a vida loca, or crazy life existence. And now he believes with Toro gone, Toro is a powerful force for them, right? He has this very powerful spirit, right? And now that Lobo has no money and he's been humiliated, and he believes that Santo is an insane person, Lobo feels all alone, and he goes on top of the mountain. And in Lobo's chapter, it is not described what Lobo does on top of the mountain. But in Santo's first-person account, Santo describes Lobo as howling to the full moon. And through this howling process, Lobo then comes up with this idea on page 53. My head hurts, my bones ache, my body dies. But I've been dying since the day I was born, and I can handle one more day, one more night. I won't live forever, sure. One day there will be no more tomorrow. And then I'll have nothing. Then no one will even remember my name. Now is the time for rhyme, the test for the best. The lust for life is stronger than the despair of death. Once Lobo realizes this, through his howling process, Lobo spits on his hands, slicks back his hair, and comes up with another plan, which we'll get to in a moment, but I do want to provide a little bit of textual analysis of this idea: the lust for life is stronger than the despair of death. According to Lobo, then, note here, even though this is a deranged situation, even though this situation would be hopeless for most people, stupid for most people, to Lobo, this is life itself. He feels life through this vida loca, crazy life. And for Lobo, he would rather feel the lust of life with a purpose. And notice, lust, that is an obsession. There is, of course, a sexual innuendo associated with the life that he lusts after. And he would rather have that than the emptiness of death. He would rather live in la vida loca then be no one. So he decides to spit on his hands, slick back his hair, and what he does at that point is Lobo goes down to the gas station with Santo, convinces some girls that he picks up at the gas station and pumps their gas for, and he convinces them to party with both himself and Santo. And in the middle of this partying, because there is an argument that ensues, Lobo decides to carjack the girls. He carjacks the girls, takes their car and their money. And remember, this is the street wolf, right? He apologizes to them while he's robbing them, but this is what he does. And Lobo then takes their car and decides to go get Toro at the hospital. Now, this may not seem to make very much sense, right? Why would Lobo go get this bull, his friend, at the hospital? We can see that Lobo's not necessarily loyal, but he needs him. He needs Toro's spirit. Toro's not going to be able to walk. Toro's incapacitated. But there's something about Toro that gives Lobo a confidence. And so they take the car and they go searching for Toro in the hospital. They're searching for Toro in the hospital and they finally find him in the intensive care unit. This now is on page 62 of the text. I'm sorry, yeah, page 62. And he sees Toro, Lobo sees Toro, and he wakes him up. He wakes him up, and he tells him, come on, let's go. As if there's no problem with Toro. Toro responds. Well, first you have Lobo, and Lobo says, Toro says, what you mean? I woke up and I was in the damn hospital, Toro said. Oh shit, that's right. You didn't see what your best homeboy Lobo did for your ass, did you? And Lobo tells him that he saved him. He tells Toro that he saved him and that he's the one that ended up making sure he got to the hospital. And he tells Toro, man, I'm ready to go kick it. As if they're gonna go continue on with the plans previously of getting high and having a crazy drugged out party. Toro responds, Lobo, I ain't hearing that shit, Holmes. I'm out right here. Santo agrees with Toro. Lobo says, Toro needs to be with us, Holmes. I took the smile off my face because there was no time to waste. The clock was ticking. Sheila's heart was beating. What you gonna do? Lay down and get better? Ain't no better between us. Ain't no better since that day in the park. And we've been zombies walking the earth since then, pretending that this day would never come. You know that. All I've ever had is the chase. All you've ever had is the charge. I'm asking you for what you do best. This one time, para los homeboys. What is Lobo asking him to do? Lobo is asking Toro, be who you say you are. Be the bull. And even though you do not have a leg that can sustain yourself, come with us and charge. And notice, how is it that Lobo is trying to convince Toro? He's convincing him by telling him that he has to do it because this is their fate and destiny because of what they did in the first chapter. Ain't no better between us since that day in the park. They violated the ultimate taboo by beating that innocent family, and this is what they must do now. Whatever this is. And not even Lobo knows exactly what this is. But they're in this life, death, vida loca, lust for life situation, and Toro agrees. Toro gets a wheelchair, and Toro leaves with them. Remember now, Toro has an open fracture wound, which is the most serious type of wound, a serious type of break. One, of course, it's extremely painful. Another is that this wound can become infected. This is a real life-death situation for Toro. They've stabilized him to a certain extent, but he's supposed to have surgery in a few hours. And instead, Toro is escaping the hospital so that he can go out on some crazy adventure with Lobo, the homie. Page 64 now, you have Lobo with the money that was stolen from the girls. He ends up getting some PCP for the homies. They end up smoking it at Tweak Peak, where he had gotten beaten earlier by the police officers. But Lobo does not take too hard of a hit off the PCP. He lets both Toro and Santo get super high off of this drug. And Lobo is now thinking, what have I done? What am I doing? Why am I doing all of this? Page 64. Damn, I knew I had it good. Bullshit if this couldn't be worked out in some civilized way. I could do it if I really wanted things to be good. But I wanted it bad. I looked for problems. I searched for drama. How else could I speak of this? How else could I be such a fool? But being a fool is hard. It's a hard hangover, an endless insomnia. Now note, what is it that Lobo is admitting about himself at this point? He says, I look for problems, I search for drama. This is the essence of Vida Loca. Vida Loca, this philosophy fills him with the lust for life and also a sublime feeling, a feeling of consciousness, of being here in this universe. He is addicted to this Vida Loca. He is addicted to it and to the feeling of being alive that it gives him. Being conscious in the universe that it gives him. Lobo also begins to think here towards the end of his chapter about what does this all mean? What is this story that he is creating here? And on page 66, he explains, this ain't no sad story. This is a glad story, a bad story. What people with words would call uplifting, because it's make it or break it. Can't go wrong with whatever should come. Because come Sunday, I either die and my misery is gone, or I live and my happiness just started. And I feel like this is what life should be all about. The day of reckoning, the day of dreams, my grand dreams, my soul beams. Forget about hitting home runs. I don't know about winning an Oscar or being president. I got no clue about school and all the small smiles and firm handshakes that come with that. I got now. And this is what I call high. What I think of when I hear of success, accomplishment, happiness. I'm free. To Lobo, his story is a story of his fate, of his destiny, and a destiny that he himself is in control of, and that he himself has chosen. He says he doesn't understand about hitting home runs. He doesn't have the American dream as a goal. He doesn't know about winning an Oscar or being president. He doesn't understand education either. What he has is vida loca. And what he will get out of vida loca is his full potential. That is how he views life. This is the street wolf. And at the end of this chapter, he asks Toro, as Toro is coming down. He knows that Toro has recently been discharged from the Marine Corps. And he asks Toro, where can we get some weapons? Toro tells him that he knows a person named Animo that lives in the wilderness. He was in the Marines. Toro was in the Marines with this character named Animo. And this person has now become a survivalist and is waiting for the apocalypse to come. Animo has a lot of weapons stored in his cache in the mountains. Lobo says, let's get going. They pack up in their car, their stolen car. They see the character, Little Cartoon. They see the character, Little Cartoon, out on the streets in the early morning, and Lobo describes that they hijack him and they take him on their trip to the mountains. The end of the chapter, I will read. Top down, the cold air caressing my face, I was smoking and blowing out circles that couldn't form. 100 miles an hour and centimeters forward on the map. 4 horsemen riding out of the clouds. Lobo's chapter ends, and what happens at this point is that Lobo, Toro, Santo, and Little Cartoon are all going to go to the mountain to get weapons from this character named Animo. This is the beginning of the plot of what happens for the rest of the novel. Thank you.